All right, welcome everybody to episode number 87 of the Productivity Academy live Q&A. Today is the 20th of June 2019, and we are going to get into it with some good questions. We've already got questions about what do you do outside of work to be more productive at work, and then some questions about daily walking and keys to being more productive. As time allows, we'll hop into questions from members, and if you are checking out the replay, that's great. If you're in the Facebook group already, that's awesome. If you're not, you can find the link below. And if you're checking this out on YouTube, you can, of course, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on these videos, as well as app reviews and other videos about time management, automation, team building, all that sort of good stuff. So hit the button below if you want to stay up to date, or join us in the free Facebook group if you are into productivity, time management, team building, automation, all that sort of good stuff. So let's actually get into it and answer some questions. All right, so make sure this is working right since I had some technical difficulties earlier. A really good question. So question is, what do you do outside of work to be more productive at work? And so I came up with a short list of 3 things. I think that there's any number of things you can do, and I'll preface this by saying again that try these things or try the things you come up with, but then the most important part is, are they working for you? If they're not, don't do them. And you need to, in order to find out if they're working for you, you need to have some sort of a review. It could just literally be like a reminder on your phone once a week, like, hey, did the thing I try, work? You could either use a reminder, you could use an app like Habit, or I think it's Habits on iOS, or Habit Loop on Android. And you just have that question come up so that at least you're consciously thinking about it and then making improvements from there, so that you're not just doing things that don't actually work for you. Okay, that said, I think that some big ones for me are exercise. And I actually just got off of recording a podcast interview with Jonathan Kronstadt, the president of Kajabi. And he brought this up and said, he had to prioritize that's a big part of his daily review. And that one of the things he ended up prioritizing just automatically every day was exercise, because if he tries to do it at lunch, it gets pushed back. If he tries to do it after work, it doesn't happen. And so he said this year that's his thing, is he's prioritizing prioritizing exercise before work. I think that's really important. It may be going for a walk, it may be a run, it could be going for a swim. It's whatever you do, but I would say if you're not doing this, try it. And even if you already have some time set outside for this, I would say, maybe try switching it up if you feel like it's not enough or it's not working for you. Or if you're like, oh, I can't get a workout in, I don't have enough time. Everyone's got enough time, right? Maybe it's just going for a 5-minute walk, and just that time to just let your brain do its thing. Maybe think about what you're going to do for the day, or just, again, don't think about anything. Just enjoy walking or getting some exercise. But I find that really helps. It's a good way to relieve stress. Sometimes doing things like going for a walk can be great to really let your mind kind of review things subconsciously, or think about a problem you've had. Or maybe some harder exercise where you're really more focused on that exercise, like running, bike riding, or something that is really getting the heart rate going, and you're having to focus on that, so you're not letting the brain go off on work tangents. Which brings me to the second thing. What you should do outside of work is not work, right? And that's easier said than done sometimes, which is why I mentioned that with the exercise. Sometimes it can be nice to do an activity where it really takes your focus into that activity, so that you're not then going back and thinking about work, or, oh, did I send that email, or did, that person mean that thing, or, did I do that one thing correctly? If you're done with work, be done with work. I think that Cal Newport, the author of Deep Work, he also has a blog, I believe, at calnewport.com, and he had a great idea with the daily shutdown. We do a daily review, but then at the end of the day, do a quick shutdown and do it the same. Have a little routine or a process for this, so that you go through and maybe, this is again unique to everybody, but generally it's a good idea. Go through, did you have any tasks or to-do notes that came up during the day? Go ahead and sort them. Get that ready for tomorrow. Review your calendar, so you're aware of what's going on tomorrow. Is there anything, in your mind you're thinking about, again, that email or that one thing at work that you didn't finish? Put it into your task management system so that it's out of your brain. So that then when you're out of work, you can enjoy what it is you're doing, being with your family, going for a bike ride, whatever that is. The other thing I want to say is learning. I think professional development is really important, but a lot of times it's easy for us to get focused on that route and to disregard that learning different areas. Whether it's literally, I'm just gonna try to think of some random things like woodworking or bird watching or whatever it is, that learning more about these areas, they only are going to strengthen everything else you do. You're going to find these interlinking ideas. You're going to meet people with different viewpoints, or that can help you think through problems. There's all of these cool benefits that come about by learning and doing these other activities. So again, you don't have to go off the deep end and become a biologist to further your business development. But learning more about just anything in general is going to be helpful, and then those people you meet doing that is also going to be some interesting connections. So highly, highly, highly recommend doing that. All right, so the second question for today is daily walking the key to being more productive? I would say no, it's not the key to being more productive. Is it a great tool in your productivity and life toolkit? Hell yes. Yeah, I think daily walking is great. Personally, I do it every morning or just about. I'm certainly not perfect, but I think, go for the 80% rule. I either go for a walk in the morning or go for a run. And on the days I go for a walk, if my wife has time, she comes with me. It's great. Sometimes we don't do much. We just go for a walk and chat about what we're up to. Sometimes it's great and, we have some great insights, or we have this really cool conversation. Like everything, it's the ups and downs. And in that case, maintaining the connection. I like talking to my wife before we both get busy. So it serves that purpose. And then throughout the day, because I want to stay healthy, I go for short walks, but it's also a mental health. Get away from the computer, get away from what I'm doing. I'm still thinking about work usually, but I go outside and I'll walk around, for 10 or 20 minutes or whatever time I have, clear my head, enjoy kind of some relaxed thinking. And that does, in fact, help me be more productive instead of just continuing to go, saying, nope, you know what, I'm going to take that break. I'm going to go for a walk, healthy. I physically feel better, and mentally it definitely helps me. All right, so that does it for the questions I had ahead of time. I do want to say, I mentioned it just a minute ago, but there's going to be a great podcast episode coming out. I just recorded it with Jay Cron, the president of Kajabi. Had a lot of really great topics I went over with him, everything from his daily routine, as the president of a large company like that, what he does, a lot about leadership and prioritization, and some really good recommendations from him as far as some books as well and some additional areas. If you want to go back and check out previous podcast episodes, you can just go to productivity.academy/podcast. And find all of those there, and you can subscribe there. You can find the links to Anchor. It's also on iTunes, a bunch of the other podcast aggregators. So this, I believe, is going to do it. I don't see any additional questions. So that's it for episode 87. And if you want to, and you're checking this out outside of the Facebook group, you should find the link below. You can come join us. You do have to answer 3 tough questions. Now, it's just 3 questions. Make sure that you're interested in productivity, time management, automation, all that sort of good stuff, and that you're going to be a good fit for the group. All right, that'll do it for this week. I will see you next time for episode 88.